I became a photographer because there was nobody else doing it, and I was 14 years old, and my dad, he helped me get a pass with my old movie camera, and Ron Lawrence, who was the track manager at Fremont, his only advice to me was, kid, don't get run over. I got myself a 35 millimeter camera in 1965, and we just burned up some film and went on tour. I was basically exiled to the end of the track at Bakersfield in 1967. They didn't want me to, they wouldn't give me a starting line pass. The first two cars that came down there were Johnny Mitchell and the Red Mountain Boys, and blew the top of the motor off. That photo made it to the Drag Racing Almanac for Mike Doherty, and the rest, the rest is history as far as crash and burn. I'd gotten some really nice, I guess, nice stuff, but not for the guy blowing the stuff off his car, but nobody else was down there. Everybody was crowded on the starting line, and that's, I guess, I got my reputation because I was exiled initially. But the crash and burn deal, I was just very fortunate because I would study the cars, watch for death smoke, remember the cars. I got so, well, everything was push starting, it was a push start deal then. I would study the cars. I could see the cars from the end of the quarter mile. I could tell you by push car, whose cars were. I could tell by the sound of the engine if the engine was raspy and was going to maybe have a problem. Well, to get close to drag racers, you walk a fine line because, these guys are they're regular old human beings like yourself, and you don't want to go and have dinner and laugh and chuckle and everything, and then the next time you see them, they're burned up in a race car or whatever. I had a hard time getting close to a lot of guys after Denny Milani was killed in 1965 because you feel so bad for his family and the whole the whole sport actually. But every time a racer gets hurt now, even to this day, like 50 years later, I feel bad. Even though I'm not there, I mean it's just something about it. But I know the risk, and it's just something that you got to live with. If you're going to photograph these guys, you're going to be talking to them like Herm Peterson. I went over and was yucking it up with Herm Peterson, and the next thing I know, he's upside down on fire getting his face burned off. And that's the way it is. If you're going to drag race, you've got to live with the consequences of an accident or whatever. Still, I knew Don Cook real well, Jim Davis. These are top fuel guys from Northern California, and Frank Bradley. These guys kept me alive buying photos because I was just the kid running around with a box of photos. And these drivers were good to me, and these were the NorCal drivers, not anybody from Southern Cal, because going to Southern California was a extra special Greyhound bus ride to see those heroes down there.
What do you remember from this photo?
I remember that it was Alan Ehrman, who's the other gentleman. It's about 1970, and we were waiting between rounds underneath the Hirsch Bridge, and Leslie Lovett shot this, my old buddy, and that's when I was really starting to tour and actually making some money. As you can tell by my camera gear, my credit card was abused, but I went and bought some of the best camera gear you could find. So we were having fun, though, having fun on tour. And of course, my jacket there is my back was big enough where I had like a moving billboard, and I was freelance and just having fun.
You guys in your day were rock stars.
Well, I don't know how much of a rock star we were, but we ate, we drank, we had sex with the same women the racers did, and we just toured all over the country, and it was just an ongoing road show, so to speak, and you'd be in US 30 one night, and you'd be talking to Charlie Proyd and Russell Long, who were running the Pabst Blue Ribbon car, and where are you going tomorrow? Oh, we're going to be in Minnesota. Okay, you just hook up and you go. You go to Minnesota, or you go, you hook up with Kosti Ivanov and Terry Hedrick, and where are you guys going? Oh, we're going to Minnesota Dragways, or we're going to to York, PA, or whatever, and you just go. And it was very common to, we were just one of the guys, so to speak, because we weren't prima donnas or anything. We just went, did our photos in the hotel rooms, and just tried to make stars out of these guys that were out there burning their cars up or blowing up and having fun. But I have lots of stories that I probably can't put on tape, but find me in person. I'll tell you some stories about some pretty good events, cool events.
Well, as far as the women, the women in drag racing that I used to come across, a lot of them were girlfriends or groupies or whatever, and people, racers and spectators used to ask me, why do these women take off their clothes for you at the races, and whether it be in the pit area or at the top of the Orange County Tower or wherever? And it's like, it's very simple. You ask, would you like to be famous? And sure, that most of the time I got a yes. In fact, Jim Lieberman, Jungle Jim Lieberman, pulled me aside when I had stayed at his place in PA and asked me to photograph Jungle Pam Hardy naked for him. And I know I just reluctantly did that, but we had a lot of fun. Her running around naked in a little forest in PA, and I've probably photographed 3 or 4 of the most well-known, nice-looking ladies ever to be at the racetrack, and a couple of them I won't mention their names, but I had a lot of fun. Put it that way.
The way I developed the skills to photograph was, I am basically a Frankenstein monster of drag racing photography. And I mean that in a good way, because getting to know Tim Marshall, Mike Mitchell, Chester Kirk, Al Yates, some of the old guys, I took a little bit from each one. Gerald Haddoff, I took how to photograph color at night. Tim Marshall, action photography. Mike Mitchell, action photography. Charlie Strutt, action photography. Chester Kirk, composition. Al Yates, composition. Jim Kelly, all of the above. And these are the guys that I took a little bit from each guy and kind of blended it, and I emerged. That's how I got my style and I got my feel for the race cars. Was I blended the traits from other great photographers, and they all kind of came together in me. I'm the monster. I'm the Frankenstein monster of drag racing photographers, and I'm proud of it because I'm very proud to say that I knew John Asher, Jim Kelly, Eric Rickman. I knew all these guys, and basically these were the guys that inspired me to go out and do better or just as good as them, and that was the key to doing that back in the day. I didn't want to show up any of these people. I just wanted to be as good as the guys that were out there doing it at the time that I was just an idiot kid running around with a beat up old Pentex 35 millimeter. These were the guys that I idolized, and to me they're the best ever.
Did you, Steve? Did you get it?
I got a couple.
Well, I guess you'd say that my weirdest photo sequence would have been in 1971 at Fremont. I was at the end of the track at Fremont, and Joe Winter had his Duster funny car making a pass, and here he comes down the track, and nature was calling for me, so I was urinating, so I had the camera in one hand and my appendage in the other, and the body blew off, and so I shot Joe while I was urinating, and it came out pretty good. The photo sequence was really nice. So it was a high altitude body deal.
The funny cars can race the quarter mile in less than 7.5 seconds. Top speed, 190 miles an hour. This much power can be lethal when out of control.
The photos that really disturbed me the most would have been Gary Schwartz and Pat Foster's crash in Dallas, where Schwartz was killed in that accident right in front of me. The other one was a friend of mine, Kenny Logan, in a rear-engine top-fuel dragster, losing his legs and hand, and that happened right in front of me also. And that was it. It was something else to photograph both of those, and know that the guys that were out there, in front of you, one of them, had died, or one of them was badly injured. So, those are probably the most disturbing of any photos that I've ever shot. The one photo that stands out that I feel the proudest, I guess, would be Larry Bauer's clutch coming out of his car at Orange County. It was one of those really fluke photos. The story behind the photo is I was on the hill down at the other end at Orange County. My wife, at the time, she was across the track waving for me to come over. She had to tell me about something. I walked over and I got trapped on the fire-up road. and here comes Bowers. So okay, I'll stay there and photograph Larry. And Larry come through, and there was just a big cloud of clutch dust, and I didn't realize what had happened. I shot one photo. That's all I shot, and pieces and parts and everything else was flying all around us. In fact, a gentleman was hurt in the pits. One of the discs took his knee off, and but that just when I processed that roll and I put that in the enlarger, it's like I couldn't believe what kind of photo I had, and it's one of those just lucky images that you wish any photographer wishes they had in their whole career, and I was very fortunate to get that with a one shot. I had a motor drive, but I only had one shot, and that was the one shot on that sequence.
Hey, you didn't take that picture. Tim Marshall said he shot that.
Only I could enter a car that's burned to the ground and win something. I did ask Butch Moss for permission. He said okay. Yes, he did.
But he wouldn't autograph it.
Well, that's after he paid $40 and bought some photos. Let's see, I got the most scared, I guess, would be Tom Toller in the TNT top fuel car in 1972 at Irwindale, pitched the whole motor out at me. And I was laying down I saw the motor coming after I'd shot my photo, and I just ducked down behind the guardrail, and the motor bounced off the guardrail, and I got a shower of, I was showered with hot oil, but, and then I stuck my head up and finished shooting the sequence, of course, but cleaning up after the hot oil and the pieces, it was a little nerve-wracking to have a whole 392 on fire bouncing down the track after you. So that would probably be the most nerve-wracking that I've ever had.
Did you ever get run over?
I came close a couple times being run over. My main concern were parts. The parts will get you quicker than the race cars will. I learned that real early on. I was hitting the side with part of a clutch that blew out of a dragster. It went in my jacket pocket, spun me around. As far as anything really serious, I've had parts and pieces go by me, and anybody that tells me there are no such thing as a guardian angel, I'm living proof that there are guardian angels, because I should have been dead quite a few times or injured really, really badly. Well, when I take that old dirt nap that everybody eventually is going to take here, hopefully they'll just remember my photos. That's my legacy, or is my photography, and just hopefully, like always, I always wanted somebody to smile when they see my photos, whether it be the car owner, spectator, avid fan, whatever. As long as it puts a smile on their face, and it tells the photos tell a story about an era that's gone. It's an era that'll never be repeated, and it just tells us I want my stuff to tell the story of that era, and that's how I'm remembered, as a kind of a storyteller.